What if everything you loved could be ripped away in a single night, and the only family you had left became the very thing that destroyed everything else? Welcome to the brutal, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant world of Demon Slayer, where a charcoal seller became humanity's last hope and a demon proved that monsters can still have souls. This is the complete story of Tanjiro Kamado, the boy who refused to let his sister become a monster, and the price he paid to save her humanity. Arc 1. When Everything Burns. In Taisho-era Japan, somewhere between 1912 and 1926, the country stood at a crossroads between ancient tradition and Western modernity. While cities like Tokyo glowed with electric lights and locomotives thundered across new railways, the mountain villages remained untouched by progress and unprotected from what lurked in the shadows. Demons walked the night, devouring humans under the cover of darkness. Most city dwellers dismissed them as folklore. Rural families knew better. Tanjiro Kamado lived peacefully with his family high in the mountains, making a modest living selling charcoal to the village below. At just 15 years old, he'd become the family's breadwinner after his father's death, caring for his mother and 5 younger siblings. He had a kind heart, a sharp sense of smell, and absolutely no idea that his entire world was about to collapse. One winter night, Tanjiro stayed late in the village after selling charcoal. A kind villager insisted he sleep there rather than risk the mountain trek in darkness. Demons, they said, prowled at night. Tanjiro didn't believe in demons. He should have. When he returned home the next morning, the snow was stained red. His entire family had been slaughtered. Bodies torn apart. His mother, his brothers, his sisters, gone. Only Nezuko, his 12-year-old sister, showed signs of life. As Tanjiro desperately carried her down the mountain to find help, she suddenly attacked him. Her eyes had turned demonic pink, veins bulged across her face, and bamboo-sharp fangs jutted from her mouth. Nezuko had been transformed into a demon. But here's where Demon Slayer becomes different from every other revenge story. Nezuko fought her bloodlust. Even as a demon, some part of her recognized her brother. She resisted. That's when Giyu Tomioka appeared, a stone-faced swordsman with a blade that seemed to slice through the very air itself. He was a demon slayer, an elite warrior from a secret organization sworn to protect humanity. His orders were simple: kill all demons, no exceptions. He raised his sword to execute Nezuko, but Tanjiro threw himself in front of her, begging for mercy. What stopped Giyu wasn't Tanjiro's pleas. It was Nezuko's unprecedented act of protecting her brother, even in her demonic state. Giyu made a decision that would change everything. He spared them both, and sent Tanjiro to Mount Sagiri to find Sakonji Urokodaki, a retired demon slayer who could teach him to fight. Tanjiro's mission became crystal clear. Join the Demon Slayer Corps, find Muzan Kibutsuji, the original demon who'd murdered his family, and discover a way to turn Nezuko back into a human. For 2 brutal years, Tanjiro trained under Urokodaki, learning water breathing, a combat style that transformed human breath control into superhuman strength and speed. He learned to slash boulders in half, move faster than the eye could follow, and turn his body into a weapon. The training nearly killed him dozens of times. Ghosts of Urokodaki's previous students, Sabito and Makomo, appeared to guide him, revealing they died during final selection years earlier. Final selection was the Demon Slayer Corps' trial by fire, survived 7 nights on a demon-infested mountain. Most candidates died. Tanjiro didn't just survive, he killed the Hand Demon, a grotesque monster who devoured Sabito, Makomo, and dozens of other students over decades. When Tanjiro emerged, bloodied but unbroken, he became an official demon slayer. He received a Nichiren sword, a blade forged from ore that absorbed sunlight, the only thing capable of killing demons, and a simple black uniform. His journey to find Muzan and save Nezuko had officially begun. Arc 2, meeting Muzan and making allies. Tanjiro's first missions introduced him to the 12 Kazuki, Muzan's 12 elite demons divided into 6 upper moons and 6 lower moons, ranked by power. These weren't mindless monsters. Each had tragic backstories, human pasts, and blood demon arts, supernatural abilities unique to each demon, and they were terrifyingly powerful. But before battling the 12 Kazuki, Tanjiro gained 2 unlikely allies. First came Zenitsu Agatsuma, a yellow-haired coward who screamed, cried, and begged to quit every mission. But when Zenitsu fell asleep, and he fell asleep a lot, his body moved on pure instinct, unleashing thunder-breathing techniques so fast they resembled lightning itself. Zenitsu could only perform one technique, but he'd perfected it to godlike levels of speed and power. Then came Inosuke Hashira, a wild boar-headed maniac raised by boars in the mountains. Inosuke wore a hollowed-out boar skull as a mask, dual-wielded jagged swords, and charged into battle screaming challenges at everything. Beneath the mask hid a surprisingly beautiful face, and deeper still, a lonely boy desperate for connection. Inosuke created beast breathing, a self-taught style based on animal instinct rather than formal training. This chaotic trio, kind-hearted Tanjiro, cowardly yet deadly Zenitsu, and feral Inosuke, became inseparable. Their first major test came on Mount Nadagumo, where they faced Rui, Lower Moon 5, who'd enslaved other demons into a twisted family using his blood thread manipulation. Rui nearly killed all three before Tanjiro unlocked something buried in his memories: Hinokami Kagura, a fire-based dance his father had performed every new year. This wasn't just a dance, it was sun breathing, the original and most powerful breathing technique ever created. Tanjiro's use of Hinokami Kagura turned his blade crimson and generated flames that burned hotter than anything water-breathing could produce. He decapitated Rui just as Giyu arrived to finish the job, but their victory came with consequences. Shinobu Kocho, the insect Hashira, one of 9 elite demon slayers representing the Corps' highest rank, captured Nezuko and dragged Tanjiro before the Hashira Council. The 9 Hashira were living legends, each a master of their unique breathing style: water, flame, sound, mist, stone, wind, serpent, love, and insect. Most wanted Nezuko executed immediately. Demons couldn't be trusted, demons had to die. But Kagaya Ubuyashiki, the Corps' gentle, terminally ill leader, overruled them. He allowed Nezuko to live under one condition: Tanjiro must prove demons could resist their urges. One slip, one human death, and both siblings would be executed. The Hashira reluctantly agreed. Tanjiro's next mission came aboard the Mugen Train with Kyojuro Rengoku, the Flame Hashira. Rengoku was everything the other Hashira weren't: warm, encouraging, endlessly optimistic, with a booming voice and a smile that could light up darkness. He immediately accepted Nezuko and took Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke under his wing. The train was under attack by Enmu, Lower Moon 1, who trapped 200 passengers in nightmares, feeding on their dreams. Tanjiro broke free by recognizing the dream world's inconsistencies and defeated Enmu by finding his true body, fused with the entire train itself. But their victory celebration lasted seconds. Akaza, Upper Moon 3, appeared. The difference between lower moons and upper moons became horrifyingly clear. Akaza moved faster than Tanjiro could perceive, hit harder than anything they'd faced, and regenerated instantly from wounds that would have killed lesser demons. Rengoku fought Akaza alone, matching him blow for blow, protecting the unconscious passengers even as dawn approached. Akaza, impressed by Rengoku's strength, offered to turn him into a demon so they could fight forever. Rengoku refused. "Growing old and dying is what gives meaning to human life," he declared, even as Akaza's fist punched through his chest. The sun rose, Akaza fled. Rengoku died in Tanjiro's arms, his final words a command: "Set your heart ablaze." This was the first Hashira death, it wouldn't be the last. Arc 3, The Upper Moon's Fall. Rengoku's death changed everything. The Demon Slayer Corps realized the Upper Moons, who hadn't been defeated in over a century, needed to be destroyed before any confrontation with Muzan could succeed. Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke's next mission took them to the entertainment district with Tengen Uzui, the Sound Hashira, a flashy, 3-wife-having former ninja who treated demon slaying like performance art. They were hunting Upper Moon 6, but they found something unprecedented: siblings Gyutaro and Daki, who shared the Upper Moon 6 position. Daki controlled beauty and cloth-based attacks. Gyutaro wielded poisoned blood sickles. Both had to be decapitated simultaneously to die. The battle pushed everyone to their absolute limits. Tengen lost an arm and an eye. Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke were poisoned, broken, and bleeding out, but they won. For the first time in 113 years, an Upper Moon demon was defeated. The victory proved the impossible was possible. Muzan's response was swift and terrifying. He summoned the remaining Upper Moons to the Infinity Castle, a reality-warping fortress controlled by the Biwa-playing demon Nakime. Muzan then did something unprecedented. He executed all the lower moons for incompetence. They'd failed him. They were worthless. From now on, only the upper moons mattered. While the demons reorganized, Tanjiro traveled to the Swordsmith Village to repair his constantly shattering sword. The village was a hidden sanctuary where master craftsmen forged Nichiren blades. It was also Muzan's next target. Arc 4, The Final War. Muzan launched his endgame. He attacked the Ubuyashiki mansion directly, killing Kagaya Ubuyashiki in a suicide bombing designed to weaken the Demon King. The explosion worked, barely. Tamayo, a rogue demon doctor who'd been working with the Corps for years, injected Muzan with a 4-stage poison designed to weaken, age, humanize, and ultimately destroy him. As the Hashira rushed to confront Muzan, Nakimi activated her blood demon art, dragging everyone into the Infinity Castle, an interdimensional labyrinth where rooms rotated, gravity shifted, and escape was impossible. The Demon Slayer Corps split up, each group facing the remaining Upper Moons in desperate battles. Shinobu fought Doma, Upper Moon 2, who'd killed her sister years earlier. Doma absorbed Shinobu whole, killing her, but she'd poisoned her entire body with wisteria toxin at lethal concentrations. When Doma absorbed her, the poison destroyed him from within. Kanao Tsuyuri and Inosuke finished him off. Akaza battled Giyu and Tanjiro in a rematch that pushed both to their limits. Just as Akaza was about to win, he remembered his human past, his fiancé, his dying father, the life he'd lost. Overcome with guilt and self-hatred, Akaza destroyed himself, choosing death over continuing as a monster. Kokushibo, Upper Moon 1, and the strongest demon beneath Muzan himself, faced Muichiro, Sanemi, and Genya. Kokushibo was actually Yoriichi Tsugikuni's twin brother, the creator of all breathing techniques, who'd become a demon out of jealousy. He wielded moon breathing and a flesh blade covered in eyes. The battle killed Muichiro and Genya, but ultimately Kokushibo, confronted with his hideous reflection, allowed himself to be destroyed, realizing he'd become everything he'd once despised. With the Upper Moons destroyed, the Hashira converged on Muzan. The Demon King proved why he'd ruled for a millennium. Even weakened by Tamayo's poison and surrounded by humanity's greatest warriors, Muzan slaughtered dozens of demon slayers in seconds. His strength was incomprehensible, his regeneration was instantaneous, his blood could kill with a touch. The strategy became simple: survive until sunrise. Hold Muzan in place long enough for the sun to disintegrate him. The Hashira fell one by one. Mitsuri's body broke under the strain. Obanai was blinded. Sanemi was shredded. Gyomei, the strongest Hashira, pushed past his limits until his body failed. Tanjiro fought alongside them, his Hinokami Kagura techniques finally perfected, his crimson blade cutting deeper than anyone else's. As the sun rose, Muzan made one final desperate move. He burst through the castle ceiling, racing for shade. The remaining demon slayers threw themselves at him, holding him back with their bodies, their blades, their dying breaths. The sun touched Muzan. He began to disintegrate. He screamed. He burned. And then, in his final moments, Muzan injected all of his remaining blood into Tanjiro. The price of victory. Tanjiro died from his wounds. Then he came back, as a demon, not just any demon, the Demon King. Muzan's successor, possessing sun-breathing, immunity to sunlight, and power that surpassed even Muzan himself. He instantly attacked his friends, his mind drowning in Muzan's will. But Tanjiro wasn't Muzan. He'd spent years seeing demons as tragic victims rather than pure evil. He'd shown compassion to every demon he'd killed, mourning their lost humanity. That compassion, that stubborn refusal to give up on people, even monsters, had inspired everyone around him. Now it was their turn to save him. Kanao used her final forbidden technique, sacrificing her eyesight to inject Tanjiro with Tamayo and Shinobu's humanization drug. Nezuko, now human again, threw herself at her demon brother, crying and begging him to remember. Inosuke and Zenitsu refused to kill him, even as he tried to kill them. Their faith worked. Tanjiro fought Muzan's influence, clawing back his humanity bit by bit. The drug took effect. The demon transformation reversed. Tanjiro became human again. Muzan Kibutsuji was dead. Every demon he'd created died with him, their curse finally broken. After 1,000 years of terror, demons were extinct. 3 months later, the Demon Slayer Corps officially disbanded. Giyu and Sanemi, the only surviving Hashira, attended the final meeting. The war was over. Tanjiro had lost his right eye and most function in his left arm, but he'd saved Nezuko. She was fully human, fully free. Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke returned to the Kamado family home in the mountains, finally able to live in peace. Epilogue: A world without demons. A century later, in modern-day Japan, their descendants live ordinary lives. Tanjiro married Kanao. Their great-great-grandchildren attend school in Tokyo, completely unaware of the demons their ancestors fought. Zenitsu married Nezuko. Their descendants discuss reincarnation, and whether the old stories about demons might be true. Throughout the city, reincarnations of the fallen Hashira live new lives. Rengoku teaches at a school, his smile still bright. Tengen's reincarnation wins Olympic gold in gymnastics. Mitsuri and Obanai, who died confessing their love, finally live as a married couple running a restaurant. The cycle of hatred is broken, the demons are gone, and the world, saved by a charcoal seller who refused to give up on his sister, continues in peace. CTA, so there you have it, the complete, brutal, beautiful story of Demon Slayer. From a boy who lost everything to the man who saved everyone, Tanjiro's journey proves that compassion isn't weakness, and that sometimes the greatest power isn't in your sword, it's in refusing to let the people you love become monsters. What moment hit you hardest? Rengoku's death? Nezuko conquering the sun? Tanjiro's transformation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you survived this 15-minute emotional roller coaster with me, smash that like button, share this with your fellow Demon Slayer fans, and subscribe because we've got more anime breakdowns coming your way. Until next time, set your heart ablaze.